Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Christmas-themed episode of Artificial Entertainment. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Lakaitis, and with me are my best friends, Mason Betterly.
Hello, I'm humming the song again.
And Tyler Yaney.
Hello, I'm not humming.
Well, guys, it's December 1st when this episode's released. Merry Christmas.
No, it ain't.
Tomorrow's December 1st.
Tomorrow's
That's
December
what I
1st?
said.
Yeah, tomorrow's December 1st.
Oh, well, it's not coming out tomorrow then. Well, it's probably like the 3rd or something.
Christmas, Christmas, Merry, Merry, Happy Hanukkah.
For a second, I thought you were doing Paul McCartney's Christmas song, and I hate... What is it? Having a Christmas time?
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Simply
Also, that's
I
wonderful
hate
Christmas
that song.
time.
It's my
it's so
least
bad.
favorite Christmas song.
Really, that's one of our favorites here in the Betterly household.
I can't stand it. It used to be in this really annoying animated Rudolph movie, and I absolutely hated that sequence.
Like one of the Rudolph movies?
Not one of the. It's not like Frankenbass. It's something
Did
else.
you say Frankenbass?
Did you say Frankenbass? You said Frankenbass.
What was I supposed to say?
Rankenbass.
It's Rankenbass.
Well, I don't know any ranks. I just know some Franks.
No, that should be a name. That should be like a character name. We should put Frankenbass.
Frankenbass. He's a stop motion animated monster in like actual live action films. It's very strange.
I'd love it. I don't know how
Yes.
we'd make that work.
That's awesome. So this week, with the release of Justice League, we want to talk about that a bit. So we're going to forego the news, except for this one piece that I was very excited to tell Mason.
I think
Uh-oh.
the world was. Wait, what did you tell me?
Mason, I have news for you.
What?
Of a live-action prequel coming out.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Can you guess what it is by my enthusiasm to tell you specifically?
No. Let me think. Prequel.
Okay.
Prequel.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Live action.
Okay. Hook.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, that's at least one heart attack we escaped. I don't know.
Wouldn't a Hook
It's a
prequel
Daphne
just
and
be
Velma
Peter Pan?
movie.
Wait a minute. What did you just say?
A Daphne and Velma prequel movie of how the two girls met. Not a Scooby-Doo movie. Fred, Shaggy, and Scoob will not appear. It is just Daphne and Velma, produced by Ashley Tisdale and her sister.
Why?
Daphne and Velma will be played by Sarah Jeffrey and Sarah Gilliam.
Ooh.
I don't know who those people are.
Neither do I. One's from something involving the color blue, and the other is from The Last Man Standing. So
The blue is the warmest color?
no, I don't think it's that.
Oh boy.
No. It's not that kind of movie.
But I figured you'd be excited to know that there'll be more live-action Scooby-Doo movies coming your way.
The real mystery is why it's being made.
Humbug.
Right? It's such a random one. I wonder if just Ashley Tisdale and her sister really love Daphne and Velma? They want to produce this? I don't know.
How about
Is
that?
Ashley Tisdale still relevant?
No.
I think she's moved on to producing, it sounds like. She has her own production company, her and her sister.
2009
That's silly.
called.
That's silly.
Hey there, sweet thing. And that's the only Sweet Life of Zack and Cody reference we will be making on this podcast.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, that's what it was from. I was a Disney Channel kid growing up.
I so was not.
I was I. Which is surprising, I know.
Well, see,
That
I
is
couldn't,
surprising.
I couldn't watch it often. My mom didn't like that I was watching all these teenagers dating when they were way too young for that kind of thing.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. So if there was any kissing and mom came in the room, gotta change the channel. I don't want
Whoa.
Kim Possible has too much midriff. It's not modest.
You're not wrong.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
So instead of news this week, Mason and I are going to do this sort of debate about a movie. And we're kind of fighting about it, but it's not what you'd call, I guess, a film scuffle. What would we call this?
I believe we should call this series Artificial Arguments. And can I kind of intro this?
By all means.
Okay. So, Mason really liked Justice League. And I thought it was okay. And before that, Winnie saw Thor Ragnarok and really liked it. And I thought it was okay. So in this segment, I'm going to hear both sides of the arguments, and one of them's going to convince me why the other is the better film.
All right.
Prepare to watch
Yeah,
a big old train wreck.
Winnie, how are we going to organize our arguments?
Well, we're going to talk about what we liked about our movies first and what we think was the positive. So Mason and I will go on that. And then we'll each talk about what was terrible about the other film. And then we'll do a round of rebuttals.
Okay. Do we want to have these timed?
Yeah, so we'll do... I got my timer right here. We'll do 5 minutes around.
Okay.
Unless, for whatever reason, say perhaps a lack of planning, we run short.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, who wants to open? Let's say we'll flip a coin. Tyler, call it heads or tails.
Heads.
All right, Mason, you go first.
What? That makes no sense.
What are you talking about? You flipped the coin. It's fair and square.
No, I didn't have a say in that.
No, it's happening.
Okay. No.
All right.
You were so certain that you have an obvious win. Obviously, you must go first into the foray.
No, it's a
word.
complete lack of planning. I need more time to make notes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Let's just get this going.
Let me open with this. Let me know when the clock begins.
Time has started.
Okay. So, comparing Thor and Justice League is like comparing the one kid at school, the popular kid who has been handed everything in life. He is, leader of he's quarterback of the football team. He has the gal to take to prom. Everything.
So none of us in
right.
school.
Yeah, none of us in school.
Gotcha.
Except a little bit of me, my senior. Never mind. Anyway.
Calm down there.
Hey. And then the other person in this story is the one who life has literally just thrown crud on. This person did not have a chance. Did not have a chance. Every setback you could think of came up for this one kid. This is the tale of Thor and Justice League. Justice League here had everything that could go wrong happen. After, Wonder Woman had a wonderful reception back in May or June, rather. I think it came out in June. That next month, in July, they pulled everyone back and said, all right, let's do reshoots now. Let's do reshoots. Again, just a few months before the actual film was to be released. At the same time, obviously, very famously, Henry Cavill was playing a role here in a separate film by Paramount. Paramount said, no, he can't shave that mustache, even though Warner Brothers did everything that they could to make sure that he could shave that mustache. They showed Paramount that they could put his mustache back on actually very well using shots from BVS, Batman vs. Superman. They did everything they could. No one
mentioned that costume mustaches are a thing, though.
Yeah. No one mentioned that there are award-winning makeup designers out there that could have done this, or even CG. Either way, they were more than accommodating, but Paramount said no. He needs to... So these people had literally 4 or 5 months to do that CG that everyone's complaining about on Superman's lip. And I mean, can you honestly blame that for being an issue there? They only had a short amount of time. Whereas
you're making my points for me, though.
No, I'm just setting things up here.
Look, I understand your handicap.
Look, hey, listen, Linda, listen. So, with that being said, what did come out was actually quite a surprise. I came in expecting to hate this movie, and I was joyfully surprised. All the characters, albeit, due to even though they didn't have a lot of time to set up some of those characters, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, other than a little bit of setup in the previous film, I actually got a good sense of all these characters, especially Flash. Flash was the real standout in this film for me. There were a lot of fun moments. for me in the film. I really enjoyed his character. And I thought he brought an energy to that universe that I hadn't seen before. It's been very dark, very dour. They're trying to make things better here, and this is definitely a step in the right direction, I believe. Obviously, Superman being Superman's return, his change in character that you can kind of see. They've been kind of rehabbing that character, and it's very prevalent in the film. And I don't know. I left the film feeling a lot of hope. There are, obvious things when you have an ensemble film like this, where it's difficult to get coverage for all the characters. But I think for what it was, it really did showcase all the characters pretty well. It maintained a certain continuity between the other films there, and showcased Wonder Woman well as well. I think they really beefed up her character, especially after the success of her movie. So I think carried that on. A villain, for a villain, I think it was admittedly the villain was admittedly a little weak, but I think that was more because this was about the Justice League coming together, and I think. For what it was, it did set up enough where I was excited to see more, and I think that's what we really needed right now. It wasn't about
time.
Yeah,
you can finish that thought if you want.
It wasn't about something so. It wasn't too much about expanding the universe as much as it was showcasing the characters and getting them together, getting them in the same room, and I think that they accomplished what they were looking for. I apologize for the first part, but I just kind of wanted to set up where I was going.
No, it's all good. You make the argument you feel like you gotta make, man.
All right.
Now, with Thor Ragnarok, this is some of peak Marvel right here. Not only is Taika Waititi a visionary director, a man who has made some of my favorite films of the past few years with What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People. Boy, they're all great films. Now this film, not only does it feel like his film, it doesn't feel like a film by committee. There are maybe 2 parts where it feels like Marvel said, hey, can you put this in? And Taika's like, yeah, sure, but I'm going to make it feel like me. This whole film feels like a single director had a vision. I went into this worried that it was going to be too Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, that there was going to be pop songs and, how do I put it? I don't want to say character-driven jokes, because character-driven jokes aren't expressly a Guardians of the Galaxy thing. But I thought this was just going to be forced funny. There was a risk of that, because Marvel would be like, we need jokes. We're good at these jokes. Let's add some more jokes. But all these jokes felt, for the most part, natural. There's only one spot that I can remember. I think there was 2, but I can only remember one where Hela tells a joke, where people aren't listening to her, and she's like, really? You don't remember me? Or something like that? That's the only joke that falls on its face. Everything else hits the mark. Thor is brought to this new standard for the character. Thor has always been this boring Shakespearean hero. And he's had growth and he's had development, but he's never been a really interesting, likable guy until now. He's been searching the galaxy for these things called Infinity Stones to prevent Ragnarok, and he's kind of gone a little nuts because it's just been him. And we open on really the end of his journey through space with him meeting the lava guy, and we just see that he is now... He's a different man. He's grown. He's less serious about himself. This movie also wraps up Loki's story arc that we've had going for 3 movies now. Thor has come to terms that his brother is never going to be who he once knew. He's never going to be they're never going to fight side by side with the same standards again. Thor has come to terms that Loki is going to do what Loki wants to do. And yet Loki has also been touched that Thor respects him and understands he's going to be who he's going to be. And he also, heard that his father loved him. His father, no matter what he did, always cared for him. And that touched Loki. And that's some of the most growth that character has had over 3 films. Let's see. Hulk's great in this. We finally get some great Hulk stuff other than him just smashing. We get to see Hulk develop He's been the Hulk for 2 years now, so he can talk and be the Hulk that we get to see in the comics all the time. Jeff Goldblum, by the way, do I have to say anything more than Jeff Goldblum? Taika Waititi just let Goldblum be Jeff Goldblum. Also, they use the World of Imagination song better in this movie than they do in the Ready Player One trailer. I thought that was wonderful. What else? There's just so many little hidden things of that this film has the love of its director behind, and he just stuck so much of his culture and his personality into this. We have a strong female character in Valkyrie. She's great. She holds her own not only in the fights but with the comedy. What else? I got a minute 20, but I feel like I've said everything. Just great fight scenes. Korg is a great additional character. This movie did what Justice League couldn't, where it introduced us to a group of new characters that I already instantly feel more connected to than the Flash or Cyborg or Aquaman. Like, I want to see Korg in more movies. I don't give a crap about a Flash movie or a Cyborg movie. The only reason I'm looking forward to Aquaman is because of the director. I have faith in him. A Cyborg movie, the actor was good, so I could be. But Flash, I'm done. I don't care about that character. Thor is a great film with a single vision, with amazing characters that you connect with every single one of them. They all have their own little arcs, and they pay off in the end. I have 30 more seconds if anyone wants to ask me questions about it.
Well, the judge. Yanny?
No, I think you made your point.
Okay. All right. So, Mason, this round, you're tearing down Ragnarok.
Okay.
Tell me why Justice League was better.
Okay.
And the flaws.
Go. Okay, so here's why Justice League was better. It brought together. It was just really the culmination of some of the biggest superheroes in comic book history. Thor, may have a singular vision, but a very muddled plot. You harp on the fact that, you don't like the dour Shakespearean vibes of the previous films. That is Thor at his core. This was just pandering to that humor. I think it very much was pandering to the humor of the Guardians films, but unsuccessfully, because every serious moment, everything that could have carried weight, was lost. Are we doing spoilers or no? Or
they've been out a while.
All right, spoilers. But at the very end, when Asgard is destroyed, Asgard is one of the seminal places in this Marvel universe. It's destroyed. It's undercut by a joke. There are several other moments in this film that could have carried that weight, and I'm sorry if that's too serious for some people, but there are some real effects from this film, especially as we near the Infinity War, where everything's undercut by a joke. And I know that's the Marvel way, and I know we're there to be entertained and laugh, but I think there were just some moments where it was a little much overkill. I loved Korg. I will not deny that. I love Jeff Goldblum. I'm staring at my pop vinyl of the Grandmaster right now, so I'm not gonna say anything against them. They're wonderfully cast. Waititi was great as Korg. However, there was something about the world of Sakaar that just wasn't that I just wasn't connecting with. It felt very bland, colorful, but there was just a lack of depth, which just feels like it was pretty much throughout the film. Doctor Strange, while it was cool to see him with Thor, it felt shoehorned in. The entire part on Earth was sort of a mess. Okay, well, I guess we gotta find my dad. Oh, where? Then all of a sudden they show up on Earth. Okay, we're on Earth. Okay, Doctor Strange. Okay, we're in Norway. Okay, Hela. So it was a mess, and I was not happy. Now, I really just don't. It was throwing us all over the place. There was no consistency, and that's tonal consistency. While I think the production design had some positive elements, I really did like the colors I like the colors and idea of Sakaar. It was just sort of a mess. There was nothing. I didn't really get to learn anything about that world too much, I don't know. I wasn't able to feel like a part of it. The world of the Ravagers, their ship, I get that. I feel that. I understand the characters there. I didn't get that with Sakaar. And with Loki, actually, Loki was one of my biggest disappointments. I felt there was the least amount of
What?
depth. There was the least amount of depth to him in this film. I thought he was there for fan service. He was there because he had to be. You could have interchanged moments with him, with Valkyrie, with Hulk, and just kind of made him not there. He was. I was kind of disappointed with him. I think Hiddleston always brings a great performance, but it's just how he was kind of written into the story. It does set him up well for Infinity War. I hope he kind of redeems himself there. But I was not impressed with his character. And that brings me to Thor. Thor. I was upset with Thor because he has just turned into the arrogant jock that he was at the beginning of the first film. I understand that they kind of did that successfully with Tony Stark, with Robert Downey Jr., where he was able to be that jerk at the beginning of this first film, and then at the beginning of the second film, after that whole arc of I'm going to be the hero, he went kind of back into the cocky role, but it worked. That's part of his character.
1 minute.
Yeah, this was just over the top. There was the video marketing where he was all like, I'm pretty awesome because I'm Thor, and all that. And it's like Gaston almost. He's basically Space Gaston because he's just arrogant, and I couldn't stand him. I liked Thor before because he understood the weight of his role in Asgard, but in the universe. Now he might have, you made a point. He may have lost his mind or something, but he's not an endearing character to me anymore. And maybe that's just me, but I don't see a hero anymore. I see a cocky, arrogant, wannabe king. So that's my thoughts on Thor. But yeah.
Awesome. 10 seconds? Anything?
Grandmaster and Korg for life.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay, this is going to be the round where I need every second. So here,
All right, go for it.
we
Go.
Okay, so you talk about Loki not having any depth or anything to do in this film, or that he was there for fan service. Loki has been in Marvel movies. Well, he was in Dark World purely for fan service. He didn't have a point into there. It's just girls love him. Jordan Combs loves Loki, so they're going to put Loki in movies. This movie, he was finally useful, and they did something with Loki here. You want to talk about non-characters? Talk about Flash and Aquaman. You could have taken them out of Justice League, and the plot would be no different. You could replace them with any different hero. Flash could be replaced by Wonder Woman, because at the beginning of the film, we see Wonder Woman is as fast as Flash. They do that machine gun across the crowd, and she's able to block every single bullet going with the gun. That's impossible. Wonder Woman has never had that speed, but at the same time, now we don't need Flash because apparently she can go that fast. You could take Flash and Aquaman. They serve no purpose. The only good moment of character development in Justice League is the Flash. I will give you that. I just push people and run away. What do I do? And Batman says, save one. That's a great moment, but they never do anything with it after that. There is no conclusion to it. It doesn't happen again, but we get character development with Thor. Let's see. Batman is not Batman in this movie. He's terrible. He's Meathead Man. Batman versus Superman, sure, Batman kills, but he's Batman. He's 10 steps ahead of everybody. With this one, with Justice League, he's just going off of hope and gut feelings. Like, he's contradicting everything he said in the last one. In BVS, he's saying, if there's a 1% chance that he could be the enemy, we have to take that as an absolute certainty and kill him. Now, if there's any chance that we can bring him back, we just gotta, because, gee willikers, it'd be great if he was back. He would make me feel less guilty. Wonder Woman is a better Batman in this movie than Batman is. She operates with, no, this isn't a smart idea. We shouldn't bring him back from the dead. Who knows what could come back? And that's an idea Bruce Wayne should have thought about months before. Also, this movie is just two competing visions. I think we would have got a much better movie if Zack Snyder had just finished the film. I understand tragedy happened and Warner Brothers was pressuring him to leave, but I think that was the wrong decision. I think Joss Whedon is the one that screwed up Justice League because their two visions do not mix together. It's like vinegar and oil or water and oil, whatever it is. These two didn't mix. You want to talk about undercutting serious moments. The whole tone of this film was serious, and I was willing to accept it was serious. But then they just go in with these terrible jokes, terrible lighthearted moments like, yep, something's bleeding. It doesn't work. I understand the DC films are darker and have a serious tone. That doesn't bug me. I don't want them to be Marvel movies. I want them to be something different. But this movie is trying to be the Avengers, and it isn't working. Because this movie was not set up or written to be the Avengers. It was written to be the Justice League. Aquaman, again, serves no purpose. You could take him out of this movie, and it wouldn't change anything. So much of this movie was cut out, and like I would love to see a Zack Snyder version, but that doesn't exist because they didn't even bother doing the CGI to it. Let's see, what else? What it sets up. I honestly think this could be the last bad DC movie. I think you are right where I left hopeful, but that hope wasn't inspired by the film. It was inspired by the fact of, all right, clearly Warner Brothers is listening to its audience. They know, they don't want dark, serious films. So I think from now on they'll let the directors have more of a say and they'll be less controlling. But this film, they didn't do it. They didn't fix anything. This is just them course correcting, and the course correction is not fun to watch. There's no good parts in the course correction. Let's see. Just real quick, you say Thor doesn't hold weight anymore. He didn't earlier. Thor was never anyone's favorite character. No one. You can ask anyone what their favorite movie is. Thor and Dark World are never going to be in the top 5. This is them adapting and doing it well, unlike what DC did. They adapted it. They made it funnier. He's not. He is stupid, but he's not a jerk. He's not a jerk jock kind of guy. He's stupid, but he's well-meaning now. He wants to help others. He doesn't see that he has to be the king anymore. He is willing to get down and dirty and help those in need. And Justice League's terrible, and Batman vs Superman is a better movie.
Ew. Yeah. All right, was that your time?
Yep. I have 6 more seconds, but I can't think of anything more to say. I'm just going to start repeating myself. All right. So Mason, you can now rebuttal.
Okay.
And I'll start the timer when you start talking.
All right. So I tried to follow up and keep notes, but here we go. All right. So kind of going through what you said there. Wonder Woman's speed was actually shown in her solo film in the No Man's Land scene as well, so that did have precedent. I think what they all bring to the table is different personalities. Sure, I mean, you could say, oh, they have similar powers or what have you, but they've always had similar powers, I mean, since the 40s and 50s, so that's really not an argument there, because obviously that's always been a thing. But I feel like they bring different views to the table. The reason that Aquaman's there is because there was the connection with, of course, the Atlantean mother box. So that sort of served to have him in there, and it had to do with that metaphor that's sort of at the beginning of having the Themyscirans, the Atlanteans, and the tribes of men, or what have you, all working together. So it sort of has to play into that, but also, obviously, with their personalities. I mean, they all are bringing something different to the table. There's the wisdom that Wonder Woman brings to the table. There is obviously the resource but tactical vision that Batman has. Batman is broken. I will not disagree wholly. I do think there are some things that that they kind of wrote into the character to correct the course of the killing that everyone was complaining about in the previous film, but also they got to create the need for them to bring Superman back. I think really he is characterizing this world without hope that keeps being talked about in the film. It's a world without hope. It's a world without Superman. He feels like he can't lead. So he needs that Superman. And again, he actually does plan ahead. He keeps referring to the big guns when they bring Superman back, because he was planning on it just in case as a safety net, to have Lois on standby, and it worked. I believe that is a lot of positive things about. I really got to defend Flash because I feel like there's something really positive about it because he's just this fun character. He's really, he brings that childlike energy that I've said it before. I would feel that way if I was in his shoes. I would be excited because he's sort of an outcast who finally has these suddenly really cool friends. Yeah, I'd be excited too. I think my favorite moment of the movie is when Superman is back and they're all fighting him, and Flash zips around, and out of the corner of Superman's eye, he can actually see him. He's the same speed, or they're he's just as fast, and Barry realizes, oh no, I've made a huge mistake. That was hilarious. That was hilarious to me, and I thought it was great. I think it is a course correction, but I don't feel like they got the chance to fully correct course that they should have had. I think you're right. It is a step in the right direction. I just don't think they had a chance to fully correct the course. Now that may not be an excuse there, but I think that needs to be taken into account when looking at this.
You have another minute 20 if you want to add anything.
Okay, I'm trying to remember your other points.
What did I say? I don't know.
In either way, I think they all bring something to the table. There is, Aquaman sort of, that obviously the tough exterior. I think there's some fun moments with him throughout the film as he kind of opens up a little bit with the lasso of truth. And again, it's just people come together to save the world. So, I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to end it there?
Yeah, I'll end it there.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you keep saying that you like Flash, that he's a fun character, that he's, a kid with superpowers, and he's just kind of connecting with that. That's been done so much better so many times before. Spider-Man, just with Spider-Man Homecoming, is a much better version of this character. And I don't care if you found his personality fun. He serves no purpose in the story. I get that you like who he is. Great, enjoy the Flash film, but he has no purpose being in this Justice League movie other than we need someone to run fast. We said unite the 7, but now we have 6, so we at least got to have 6, so let's throw the Flash in there. Let's see. You like the characters, but the characters themselves don't improve the story. The story here is what's bad. There are bad characters in this movie, don't get me wrong. But the story is the bad part. Just the tone of it. It feels like two different people tried to make this movie. At least with Thor, it is a single vision. It works more often than Justice League does. The green screen of the reshoots are horrible. Again, I fully believe the reshoots is what made this movie bad.
Kind of like the reshoots that moved the alley. Like the reshoots that moved the alley to the middle of a field in Norway that's very clearly green screen.
Oh, but it looks so much better. It looks so much better than Bruce Wayne's fake beard or Aquaman on really bad green screen.
That wasn't a fake beard, was
it? There's a difference in the beard. Like, if you look at the old trailers... Oh, by the way, I went back and watched the original Justice League trailer that came out. They have much funnier lines in that script than they do in this movie. Like with Wonder Woman asking Bruce Wayne about Aquaman. So did he say he would help us? And he said he'd think about it, or something like that. He said maybe. Wonder was like, maybe yes, or maybe no. And Bruce Wayne's like, maybe... And Diana just goes, so it's a no then. And it's just Bruce Wayne didn't want to admit that he couldn't, that he failed. And I thought that was great.
Gold.
But, yeah, because, Bruce doesn't fail often, so why would he want to admit it? Let's see. Everything that we saw with Bruce and Alfred in Dawn of Justice, we don't get to see here.
This is rebuttal. This is to defend, not to attack. You already attacked. I'm defending.
All right. Okay, let's see. So the lack of depth of Sakaar, We didn't need to know about Sakaar. Sakaar was just a place. We'd never seen it before. We were more concerned about the characters there. I think we got as much of that place as we needed to. We saw its people. I got the personality of the place. Let's see. Thor doesn't hold weight. I think he does. I'm just trying to look over my notes. You say it set everything up, that it gave us a better Superman. It is a better portrayal of Superman. I will give you that, but it is not written well. Like, the itchy line is terrible. It feels out of place in the film. Granted, I do want Superman to be more like Justice League Superman, but it doesn't fit in the film. Not even in the universe they set up, but in the film itself, it doesn't work. It doesn't connect with the grittiness. This film has really interesting, dark, gritty scenes, but then it's just broken up by not even comedy that doesn't work, but comedy that doesn't fit. Regardless of whether all the comedy in Thor worked, it fit. Like, we know it was there, it was what it was trying to do. All the comedy here feels crowbarred in.
I don't think you can attribute all of the comedy in this film to reshoots.
I can, because all the dialogue feels very Joss Whedon-esque. It would not be all these characters just sitting around with Snyder. Snyder likes to have the camera moving. He likes to have the characters moving. And when he does stand still, it's only for a little bit. Whedon, it feels really drawn out. I had another point. Yeah, it's just... It's not a good film. It's bad. Thor is better. Tyler, I will give you money if you say I win. Not really.
Oh, I was like, ooh, you had something there for a minute.
I don't want to win that way.
No. I mean, I'll still take the money. Is it my turn now?
Oh, I forgot one last thing. May I just have one sentence?
Go for it.
Okay. You said that at the beginning that Thor was trying to just out there to help people. He really doesn't help a lot of people other than himself. I mean, he's trying... Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He helps the entire people of Asgard escape. Not to mention all the little prisoners they had on... He helps them get out. But... Oh, by the way, Idris Elba, I loved him in Thor. I didn't get to talk about that, but...
He's kind of an underrated gem in the universe.
Oh, totally. Oh, shoot! That's what I wanted to say about Thor. This film had consequences. Justice League didn't. Like, characters are dead that are going to stay dead. Thor has lost an eye. Those are going to continue. I feel like things set up in Justice League, we're going to lose because with the Flash movie, they're going to do Flashpoint.
Which is...
since I made a point, please make a point. Yeah, because Batman's involved.
Woo! I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that.
That was a good animated movie. DC Animated should be writing these scripts.
Okay, so I have a thought following that, but I want to hear the verdict.
And this will be the last thought, and then Tyler makes...
No. This is
I haven't talked for like a good half hour.
I have a thought. I have a thought for after the verdict. So.
Oh, okay. Go for it, Tyler.
Here I go. I am like George W. Bush. I am the decider. All right. First off, I wanted to start.
Man, that joke fell flat.
It fell flat because the kids aren't gonna get it because it's like 13 years old. But that's okay. That's okay. You can find out more about George W. Bush in your local library.
Okay. All right. Who won?
So, anyways, I went into this today thinking about it when I realized we were doing the show today. Like, I probably enjoyed Thor more, right? But I need to go through these individual arguments, or at least a couple of them, if I may. Mason made an excellent point. As entertaining as Ragnarok was, it's not a very good Thor movie, and it's also a movie that decides that, oh, Guardians is popular, we need to do something to salvage this character, because these are kind of the lowest rated movies in terms... I don't know about box office, but I know that I think on Rotten Tomatoes, Dark World is still the lowest rated of all the Marvel movies, but
It deserves to be.
I like Dark World.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, it's Thor. Mason's right. Thor is this Shakespearean character, and yes, you can do fish out of water humor, and that's why I liked kind of the role he's played in the Avengers films, because I think that's the perfect balance of, oh, he's goofy because he's out of his element. That works there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in this film, he's supposed to be in his element, and a lot of these jokes and the tone the movie is going for kind of undercuts the emotion.
He's
and
completely out of his element. He's lost his hammer. He doesn't.
Okay. All right. No, you're right about that. But he's in space. He's in space with weirdos, whereas he's not the norm in with the normies on Earth. That's what I'm saying. So like, what happens in Thor Ragnarok? Asgard is destroyed. He loses his father. He loses an eye. He loses a hammer. He discovers he has this sister, and there's this whole other side of his father he never knew about. And I've seen the film twice. I've never felt the emotional impact of any of that. And that's a problem. That is a big problem.
Okay,
and
okay,
also,
but you sound like you're talking more about how you feel about the movie. You're not judging our
No,
argument.
but I'm talking about Mason's points. Mason made me realize this. Because these are all Mason's arguments about why Thor Ragnarok doesn't...
I open doors.
Yeah. You know, and he's right.
I'm not liking this.
Hear me out. Let me go through everything. Yes, Justice League is a mess. It is a mess of a film. But I will say this: it's edging ever so closer to what it should be. Like, I was thinking today too. Like, I love Spider-Man growing up, and I love Batman. Those were the two big ones. And I watched Batman the animated series and Superman the animated series all the time. And I love the Justice League show. And I just never thought they'd be able to bring that to the big screen, especially with the route they were going. Like, Suicide Squad should have been great in terms of concept, but it was just botched. It's almost unwatchable.
No matter how bad or good you think Justice League is, Suicide Squad is still worse.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
hands
Suicide
down.
Squad is awful. Yes, and I still don't care for Man of Steel, but that's conversation
Agreed.
for another time.
Agreed.
But it got Superman right. Mason's right. It got Superman absolutely right.
It
and it
got
only
Superman
took...
almost right.
Let him talk.
I'm just making the point I made earlier.
No, I know. I'm trying to hold back on my points.
I will side with Mason on the Flash. I think the Flash was kind of the thing almost holding the team together, because he seemed to be the only one that really wanted to be there. And I think that the Justice League needed that enthusiasm. Because otherwise, it's just Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Batman going through the motions like, well, we got to save the world. No one else can do it. But Flash is like, this is fun. We're like superpowered people, and I'm hanging out with people for once. And I liked his story with his father and where they're going to go with all that. So I will side with Mason on that too. That I don't think the Flash was pointless. Yeah, let's go positives of Thor real quick. That villain is better in Thor, and the special effects are better by far. Mm. But Mason made a great point that what Justice League could have been after all the news I heard and how much money and reshoots and all that, I'm with him. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Now, I think it went more towards the campy element and farther away from the Zack Snyder.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I like that because that's kind of the Justice League I grew up with. Like, yeah, you got Batman and he's kind of grim and they have all these grim things going on, but that doesn't mean Superman has to be grim or the Flash has to be grim. Like, they can still be those characters and those personalities, and that's what Justice League got right. And that's why Justice League wins over Thor, because Justice League got the characters right where Thor did not.
No.
And Mason argued that because, like, I'm going by the arguments. I like both movies just fine. They are both flawed. That is the whole point of this debate. But I am going with Justice League. Shockingly, I'm going with Justice League on this one.
I'm surprised.
Okay,
all right. So the You did make great argument. You made a fantastic argument, buddy. I genuinely
For
did
someone
think
who
I was
went
gonna
into
win
this
that one.
episode thinking I was going to argue BVS versus Justice League.
I'm sure you would have lost that one too. But...
Well, honestly, as Yanni was even saying that, he caused me to realize another point. I mean, basically, throughout the course of Ragnarok, Thor like finds out that there was a whole phase in his father's previous life where he was basically like a mass murderer. I mean, can you?
Oh yeah.
Like, think about, but honestly, it makes me
Yeah.
think about Prince of Egypt. Think about Prince of Egypt, where Moses goes and sees the hieroglyphs, where he sees all of the Jewish children that were massacred by his father. I mean, think about like a moment like that if it happened in Thor. Like, that would be a real conflict of a character who we've now known for a couple movies, who's been the wise noble king.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have that moment like, wow, I was gonna cause a war, like, to do that, basically gonna be like you, and you shot me down, but look at all this stuff you've done. So, and that was something I had thought about previously, but you brought it back to mind. It's just, that was something that really stuck with me
Yeah.
too.
No, that's good. And can I just say, like, there are elements I enjoyed of Justice League. Like,
Yeah,
Cyborg, I really found that character interesting. From everything I saw of the trailer, I thought he was just going to kind of be bland and angry, but I liked the depth the character had.
Yeah, yeah, he was kind of a miss for me, honestly.
See, Aquaman was the biggest miss.
Really?
No, I
thought the
I
whole
liked
Atlantis
the whole scene
part
in
was weird.
Atlantis.
I didn't
yeah,
like
absolutely.
the Atlantis part was.
If you took the mother box out of Atlantis, what other purpose did Aquaman serve?
No, none.
Yeah,
I was trying to find some way around that. Like, the
like,
mother
even
box.
I was watching videos today. They take Aquaman out of clips of him and Wonder Woman fighting Steppenwolf. So it's just Wonder Woman fighting Steppenwolf. So Aquaman doesn't even get that in the actual film.
Huh. Wow. Yeah.
Flash,
Again,
I thought, had
it's
a
a
nice
flawed
had,
film.
like,
At this point, I mean, the film genuinely did give me enough hope where I'm excited to see more of this universe. But if you did tell me that they were gonna reboot it, which I would love to talk about another episode,
which we will.
I wouldn't be like wholeheartedly upset.
Right.
I'd
think,
be like excited to see what they could do in the
I realized this week, if Ben Affleck left the role, I wouldn't be upset, because everything I like about this Batman is just the costume,
the
personality, and he, like, I love how Gotham looks in Justice League. It looks like Gotham.
The aesthetics, I like all the costumes, really. I like all of the costumes. I know some people don't like Flash's bulky kind of costume, but I think it works.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's my
Production
least.
design's pretty good.
I don't know if I like that he made it, because I thought it should have been a little bit more janky.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, because I when I saw the trailer, I thought like, oh, does Batman make him that? Or like, oh no, he just has it. Whatever.
Well, I heard
an
original. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to talk about Superman real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they really fixed him in this movie, though.
I think they did, absolutely.
I think again they pushed him in the right direction, but it's not right yet. Like, they tried to show Superman saving people. He lifts up that big building and takes it out, but we don't see any people still. We just see the idea of Superman saving people. And we got that in BVS, but we still don't really get to see it.
Yeah. I think it would be cool if the next Superman, or film that features Superman, opens with him like saving people. Like, looking at them as he saves them, and like
I want him to be in the Shazam movie.
Yeah.
I want the Shazam movie to be all about Billy Batson trying to figure out what it means to be Superman.
Dang, so it should be like Spider-Man Homecoming, but with Superman and Shazam. I'm not saying that to knock it, because I kind of want that.
Yeah, well, and Superman's more involved than Tony Stark, for sure.
Obviously, yeah.
Because my idea for a Superman movie, and it also works in a Captain Marvel movie, is Superman trying to figure out what a hero is, and basing that off the idea of both his fathers, because these are the two big man roles in his life. Uh-huh. So he's trying to be them, but he also has to figure out what it means for him to be a man.
Oh, that's Hercules.
Oh, and then the villain in it could be Bizarro, because Bizarro could be a reflection of that and also trying to figure out the same thing at the same time because he's trying to be the Superman. Dang.
That works. But you could also have Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is like the worldview of power and what it means to be a man.
Well, yeah, obviously Lex would be connected to that story because he makes Bizarro, so it would be a story of three men.
Also, real quick, I would never think that Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor would be a better villain than Steppenwolf, but
there you go.
There you go.
All right, guys, we are 50 minutes in, but we should start talking about what this podcast is actually about.
Oh yeah, it's Christmas!
Movies.
Yay!
Christmas.
So
this will probably be a little bit of an abridged version of.
Yeah. Well, here I can go first because my movie is a nothing movie where barely anything happens, and I think I can get through it pretty quickly.
You didn't watch my movie.
So last week, Mason gave me The Christmas That Almost Wasn't from 1966. It is a movie, I believe, shot in Italy because it has Italian actors. So it's not... This film isn't dubbed in the traditional sense. Like, the actors are not... They're speaking English. They're not speaking Italian. But since they all have Italian accents, they've hired American actors to dub them. So to me, it's even weirder. Like, the mouths are saying the words that I'm hearing, but the voices do not sound like they're coming out of those faces at all.
Really? Because I thought it was just ADR. Like, just that was them, but ADR.
No, completely different actors, except for the guy who played Phineas T. Prune, the villain.
Yeah,
I believe he did his own voice just with an English accent. I'll give you that Sam Whipple, whoever they got sounds like that man looks, but that's the only one.
Yeah. Did you look that up?
Yes.
Okay, wow. I did not know.
Yep. So I did a bit more research. Plus, I've seen this movie before, so I was able to come at it with some knowledge. So essentially, this film, Santa needs to pay his rent because Phineas T. Prune has bought the entire North Pole. And he hates children and he hates Christmas.
Wait, Santa can't pay his rent and he hates children?
No. Phineas T. Prune hates children.
Oh, okay. I was like, this sounds great.
And it's weird because Phineas has a whole song about why he hates children, and it's essentially
because...
It's
a musical?
Oh, yeah. In the loosest sense of the word. All the songs sound like they're ad-libbed.
That's great.
Because there's a whole song about Phineas Prune, and it's just prune, prune, prune. The name of the song is Prune. Prune, June, Dune, Moon. It's like have you ever gotten really bored and you just start trying to rhyme words as you talk? That's what the music sounds like in this movie. It's terrible. Well, yeah, but he has a whole song about why he hates children, and it's essentially just because he feels that children get all the compliments and no one ever compliments him.
Uh-huh. Okay.
He's just like, children are spoiled. They get all the compliments and they get told, good job, buddy. And I never get that.
Hey, I agree with that. He's got a point.
Maybe Yaney hates children too.
So Santa doesn't have enough money to pay rent.
Done nothing.
Oh boy. So Santa doesn't have enough money to pay rent. So he goes. Why is that so funny to you?
Santa's a deadbeat. It's great. This sounds amazing.
So he goes to this little, like, old European town and finds a man named Sam Whipple, who it turns out is a lawyer. But Santa doesn't go to him because he... What?
Did you say Sandra Bullock?
No, Sam Whipple.
Oh. Whipple?
Whipple.
Sam Whipple.
But Santa doesn't go to him because he's a lawyer or because he should normally have a lot of money as a lawyer, but because as a child, Whipple wrote Santa a thank you card, and he was the only kid in the world to ever write Santa a thank you card.
That's kind of cute.
But the thing is, so Whipple's like, oh, Santa, I can pay your rent. But then he goes to look at his wallet. He goes in his safe. Turns out he's a lawyer that just forgets to bill people.
Again.
It's so weird. So, and here's the strange thing. Once Santa recruits Whipple, they take what is apparently a very long sleigh ride back to the North Pole. But somehow Prune walks from this town to the North Pole every day at supper time to ask for the rent. This man is committed to hitting up Santa for his money. So what ends up happening is Santa and Whipple go to work in a local toy store. And like, I guess the point of this film is this is how we got Santa sitting at a mall, or Santa's helpers. This is the original Santa going and asking children what they want for Christmas. But here's the thing: Santa's never actually interacted with an awake child. He only sees them when they're asleep.
Oh my!
So he's very
prefers
nervous
it that way.
Yeah. And like it's weird because they take a dig at Macy's, because the guy who owns the toy store is like, oh, I'll have to Santa in my shop. I'll have to tell Mr. Macy about this. He'll be so jealous.
What?
It's
Like
like a weird.
Was that the whole jab?
Yeah, it's like a whole jab. I think at Miracle on 34th Street, like, oh, see, we had Santa in this toy store, even though Miracle on 34th Street came out way earlier and did it already.
This movie was so confident in itself. That's great.
I like a good confident movie.
So, for some reason, they set out to prove that Prune was a child at some point in his life.
I mean, what?
Because
What?
they think that'll make him have sympathy on the kids and allow Santa... Oh, because Whipple... Prune offers to waive the rent if Santa stops delivering toys at Christmas. But
That
Santa's
seems
like,
reasonable.
surely you had to have been a child at some point. And Prune just goes, no. So Santa sets Jonathan, his elf coordinator, who is not an elf, he's a giant of a man. It's like Santa has all these elves, but kidnapped one normal person to work the books.
Buddy.
Someone's got to do it.
And so Jonathan spends the whole movie looking through the books to see if there's any proof that Prune was a kid. And they can't find any. So what ends up happening is Santa and Whipple make enough money at the store, but then Prune buys the toy store and knocks over all these toys and blames it on Santa. So he's like, well, I guess you'll just have to pay me back for all these damages. And Santa goes,
What?
oh, I guess you're right. Here's the $700 I earned. So that means his rent, which he was about to pay off, that he cannot pay, is only $700.
And it means the movie up to this point has been a complete waste of time.
So there's a whole other musical number about the kids, all the kids of the world singing that they got a date with Santa, and they're all excited. And it's it's supposed to be a happy, upbeat song, but then it's just
Make sure they're asleep.
It's intercut with these depressing shots of Whipple and Santa just sadly wandering the streets. And, like, the song stops every time it cuts to them. Like, there's no background music. The song just stops dead in its tracks, and all we can hear are the echoing footsteps of their feet on the cobblestone as they wander around alleys, depressed.
That's very artistic.
But they find a bench. It's Christmas Eve. It's almost midnight, and they have to pay rent by midnight if they want to do Christmas. All of a sudden, this lone kid comes by, carrying a Christmas tree. And he asks Santa, what's going on? And Santa explains to him his rent situation. And the kid's like, well, geez, Santa, you've done so much for us. Let us pay you back. So the kid runs down an alley and just yells. And I guess somehow, shouting down this one alley, wakes up every single kid in town. And every single kid in town brings their piggy bank to Santa.
What?
And they are able to pay the $700 rent. But here's the thing.
Just in one town?
Yes, just in one town. These kids
Okay,
have
so
enough
not all the
change.
children of the world.
No, not all. I thought that's what was going on. I thought this one kid was screaming down an alley and somehow reaching every child on planet
Well, that
Earth.
would be a scam at that point.
But
He'd have enough for the rent tenfold.
Well, the thing is, Santa pays rent like a boss. It's all in change. He just dumps 2 entire giant sacks.
Santa's so petty.
Here you go, pennies.
Here's your rent.
But at the very end, as Santa goes off to deliver presents, Jonathan finds a postcard that had fallen behind his desk. It turns out Prune was a kid and had asked for a boat. So it turns out this whole thing is Jonathan's fault. And if he had just organized his mail a little bit better, this jerk wouldn't have bought the North Pole and tried to ruin Christmas.
Is Jonathan the Andre the Giant elf?
No, he is a long, slender, skinny man with like Einstein hair and a mustache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's weird. He's like supposed to be a whimsical character, but also he really resents being there.
I would too if I was in that movie.
Not the actor, the character.
that makes more sense.
It's so strange. But that is the Christmas that almost wasn't.
Wait, what happens? What happens once they find out that?
They go and give him a boat, and then it ends like a Christmas Carol. Prune goes out, and all the children are there. He gives a boat to another kid, and he invites them all into his house for a Christmas feast.
And then,
it's so strange.
But the best part is his song, and he's like, why can't every day be Christmas? Oh, it's fantastic.
Beautiful.
It's terrible. Again,
He just
do
goes around,
not watch
"Why?"
this movie. Go watch the MST3K riff on
Okay.
Netflix. It's so much better. It improves the film.
Okay. Is that on Netflix?
The riff is.
I might
yes.
watch that tomorrow.
It's really good. The film itself is on Amazon Prime, so that's how I watched it. Tyler, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, and try and keep it to like 10, 15 minutes.
There's really not much to this movie, so okay.
Okay, perfect. Lay it on us.
So-
I'm very excited to hear what this film is.
Okay, all right. Let's go through Pottersville, an anomaly of a film. It came out this year, and I had no idea about its existence until when he gave it to me, and I had no idea what it was about. So I didn't know going in, and I'm not gonna just flat out tell you. I'm gonna take you through it. You ready?
Take us on this journey. Take us to
Okay.
church.
Taking us to church, yes. So Michael Shannon is this shopkeep of the general store in this nice little quaint town of Pottersville. And he works for Judy Greer, and they work and they like their job, and he's just the nicest guy. Like this lady comes in and can't afford all these Christmas gifts, so he just puts it on the tab, and he's just the nicest. So he's like, I'm gonna go home and surprise my wife. And Judy Greer like, oh, that's sweet, I'll close up. So he drives home to surprise his wife. No, I thought they were going there too, and they do, but in the weirdest way possible. He walks in on them in furry costumes, rubbing up against each other.
What?
Yeah.
So Hellboy is wearing a wolf costume. And,
it's what's his face?
Ron Perlman, yeah, is the sheriff. Sheriff Hellboy, I would call him. Yeah, it gets weirder. Hear me out. And then Joan from Mad Men is in a bunny costume and plays his wife.
Interesting.
And she's part of this weird furry sex club, she says. So Michael Shannon is understandably upset and confused. So he gets drunk and heads back to his general store, where Judy Greer kind of comforts him. And then in his drunk logic, he's like, well, if they want me to be in a weird furry sex club, then I will be. So he dresses up in like this gorilla costume.
But it's just a gorilla mask and one of those hunting... what's it called?
It's weird. Yeah, inexplicably, he has a gorilla mask and gorilla gloves, but the rest of the costume is like this fuzzy hunting gear that's kind of green.
Oh, yeah.
So he wanders around in drunken stupor all night dressed like that. And the next day he wakes up naked for some reason in the store and to discover that everyone thinks they've spotted Bigfoot.
Mind you, this is a Christmas movie.
What?
Oh, yeah. Okay, here's the thing about the Christmas thing. it opens up with the Christmas song, and it's winter and it's Christmassy, and Michael Shannon's listening to Christmas music on his drive to see his wife. And then Christmas is never mentioned again until the very end. It's barely a Christmas movie. Let me walk you through the rest of this real quick. Okay. So there's a Bigfoot, everyone thinks, in Pottersville, and this is making national news for some reason. And his wife's super into it. He's like, ooh, Bigfoot. He's like a real furry or something. And I'm like,
he's like a furry, but not a person in a costume.
Yeah, so Michael Shannon just kind of plays this whole role kind of monotone. Like, yeah, I'm a nice guy. Whatever.
So wait, is he still with his wife?
It's not really made clear. I think he's moved out at this point.
Okay.
To be fair, his wife never actually engages in intercourse with these furry people. They just have these weird... It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Lots of static electricity.
Yes, lots of that involved. So they call into town. Thomas Lennon plays like this Aussie, like crocodile hunter almost, monster hunter from this TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the movie pretty much is Thomas Lennon teams up with Ian McShane and Sheriff Hellboy to try to track down this Bigfoot, because Michael Shannon keeps appearing as Bigfoot because it makes the town happy and famous.
It's good for the kids.
Goodness.
It's good for the kids.
And it's actually wonderful. I highly recommend it. It's so weird. And I don't know how it got made, because Ron Perlman and Michael Shannon actually had producers credits on this thing.
I can tell you why it got made and what the point of it was.
Okay, tell me.
Pottersville is a city in upstate New York, and New York is trying to attract more film businesses. So like they're doing all these tax benefits, and Pottersville was their first push to show that you can make independent films in New York.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That explains how you heard of it. All right. So the thrilling conclusion to Pottersville.
Oh yes, please tell me how it ends.
Okay. So Thomas Lennon is a fraud. He's really this actor pretending to be an Aussie, and he kind of gets freaked out when he thinks there's actually a Bigfoot, because the closer and closer he gets to it, he thinks it's actually a real thing. Because apparently nobody ever gets close to this stupid thing, because it looks exactly like what it is. It's a guy in a cheap gorilla mask.
In a ghillie suit, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
No. Well, thank you. I didn't know that was the terminology.
Yeah.
So they tranquilize Michael Shannon and don't bother to look at him.
What?
They accidentally shoot. Oh no, I didn't even get to the best part. So the three of them, Thomas Lennon and Sheriff Hellboy and
Sheriff Hellboy.
Ian McShane.
Stumble into the weird furry sex party in the middle of the forest with tons and tons of people in furry costumes. And then Thomas Lennon is drunk and thinks that this is all a hallucination, and Sheriff Hellboy had just been tranquilized by accident the night before, so he thinks he's tripping balls. And Ian McShane has had enough at this point, so he fires
I feel like Ian McShane, the actor, has just had enough at this point.
No, he fires a gun into the air, and all the furries run away like animals.
Scurry! Scurry!
Scatter! So then
he accidentally shoots the furry dressed as Bambi's mom.
Well, there was one as a deer. So they accidentally tranquilize Michael Shannon and don't bother to look at him. Just wrap him in a sheet and throw him in the back of a truck. And then, without looking at him, announce to the whole town that they've captured Bigfoot. And then Judy Greer out of nowhere comes up and pulls his mask off, like, "No, he's a man." And they couldn't tell because it's a cheap film. So the whole town is sad, and Thomas Lennon threatens to sue the whole town for like $150 million or something stupid like that.
What?
This is the movie. And then Christmas comes back into play. And Judy Greer's like, "You can't be mad at him. Look look at everything he's done for this town, and I mean, you're really not going to
Pottersville.
town. And she goes to she goes for this logbook where he's supposedly been keeping tabs on people who owe him money at the store, and it's all blank because Michael Shannon's just the nicest guy. And they
I don't have your money.
It's your friend's house.
What are you doing with my money?
So, and the lawsuit, I guess, doesn't go through, and the movie is over.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a happy Bigfoot.
And that was Pottersville.
That's so weird.
I kind of want to see it.
It's great.
Oh no, I totally want to see it.
Absolutely. I recommend it. Like the music is bad, and it looks and feels like a television movie that got a lot of famous people in it. But like the weirdness of the plot and how enjoyable some of these character actors are makes it totally worth it.
The cast alone blows my mind. Like Ian McShane and Ron Perlman, like these guys have better films to be in.
Oh, absolutely. All of these people do.
Zod has fallen, that's to say the least.
I mean, I like him more. Actually, he's hilarious as Zod. I'm not fooling anyone.
I will find him. All right, Mace.
Oh my gosh, I recommend it though. If you, it was hard to find. I could only find it on Amazon. I had to pay $5 for it. But if you can find Pottersville, definitely check it out. It's weird. It's a weird one. It's barely a Christmas movie.
Pottersville, barely a Christmas movie.
You can put that on the DVD cover.
Oh, okay, Mace.
Okay.
What did Tyler give you?
Well, he gave me a choice, and I chose life. I chose
to live.
I chose A Smoky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton. And
okay,
what a Christmas it was. Yeah, it certainly happened. So I didn't know anything about this going into it, so I didn't know what I was in for. And how it started was it opened. Yeah, that's why I picked it. So it starts with sort of a storybook opening with a wonderful opening by Miss Parton saying, "Once upon a time there was a little girl, or a girl who lived in a princess who lived in a beautiful castle, and everyone." And despite
sounds
her...
like Dolly's a little drunk doing this narration. There once was a little girl, a princess
I would say
girl.
Puberty was inordinately kind to you.
Oh my.
So, and despite all of her fame and riches, there was something missing in her life. And who could this character be? Oh my gosh, it is Dolly. Where does she come up with this stuff? Wow.
I bet Sylvester Stallone helped her write it while on the set of Rhinestone.
I wish.
There was a princess, despite her riches and fame, something was missing. No, but so it opens on this character who is not Dolly, but it's played by Dolly. It's essentially Dolly, who, you know, despite all of the fame and everything going on out in L.A., she misses her roots out in the Smoky Mountains, and she wants to get away for Christmas. So
wait, how is she a princess but was raised in the Rocky Mountains?
It's a metaphor. She thinks she's a princess.
Oh,
It's 1986.
So
It's 1986. She thinks she's a princess.
It's right after Rhinestone.
Oh wow! All right, there you go. So she wants to get away, and there's this. So she reaches out to an old friend who has a cabin out in the Smoky Mountains where she can get away, and she's just decided she's just gonna disappear. And so there's this paparazzi guy, and he is following her around and gets wind that she's going away, but then he disappears. Then as she's leaving, she accidentally breaks a window and randomly is like, "I'm sorry, whatever the name of the butler is that pops in randomly. Also,
Alfred.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll say Alfred. No, is that actually his name?
I have no clue. I'm just
All right.
giving you a good
Yeah,
butler name.
Butler name. Okay. I'm sorry, Alfred. Also, side note, this butler character is played by the guy who did the voice of the Sultan in Aladdin, so that was a nice little gem.
Oh, he's a delight.
He is a delight. He played a wonderful Santa once.
I was gonna say he's a great Santa in
yeah.
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yes, he is. But he's barely in the film for like 3 minutes. Anyway, she breaks the
we
window,
were robbed.
randomly says, "I'm sorry, Alfred," and just leaves. That's it. She doesn't tell anybody. She just vanishes and goes to the Smoky Mountains. So she randomly disappears, and there's a broken window in her room. So all of Hollywood thinks she's been abducted, except for this one paparazzi guy who knows the real scoop. So he's trying to get someone to fund him to go out and find her and get the real story. So you think that's really going to be what it's about. So she gets out there, though. And she gets to the cabin, and she's like, "Oh, there's stuff here already waiting for me. My friend didn't tell me that." She thinks of everything, and she falls asleep in the bed. And there's this beautiful little shot of the cabin covered in snow with a cute little brook and a bridge over it. I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of reminiscent of Snow White. And then guess what happens? It's
Three
Snow
bears.
White. No, this movie turns into Snow White. It is Snow White. It's Snow White at Christmas with Dolly Parton.
But there's no evil queen. Or is the
but
paparazzi
there
the evil
is.
queen?
There is, because randomly there's a mountain witch who is beautiful, and the sheriff hits on Dolly Parton on her way to the cabin.
In '86, there's a mountain witch in Colorado.
No, in do you know where the Smoky Mountains are?
I thought I did.
No.
It's Lee
That's
Majors.
the Rockies, buddy. Anyway,
Well,
so she's riding on her horse. Out of nowhere, this woman comes up on a horse after Dolly leaves, and she's like, "You were hitting on that girl, weren't you?" He said, "Maybe I was." "You belong to me. I'm the most beautiful woman you've ever seen." I'm like, "Oh my." So, and he tries to leave, but his car won't start. And all of a sudden, she flicks her hand, and the car can starts up again. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Hold that thought, though. Because when Dolly awakens in the cabin, she is met by 7 little children who are runaway orphans. So this is where I realized we are in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs territory. So they all take to her immediately, except for one who is obviously the broody oldest kid, who's like, she's just gonna make promises, kids, and you shouldn't trust her. She's just gonna promise that she'll stay, and then she's gonna leave, because they all leave in the end.
Which is the classic dwarf Doc.
Classic, grumpy.
Oh, my bad.
As that's going on, because that's a thing. So she's singing her song. She's getting the creative juices flowing again. I really think this is gonna be a great Christmas. So there's getting all comfortable with each other, and all out in the bushes. There's a rustle, and they're like, oh, "It's Mountain Dan. Mountain Dan's an evil monster who eats children." Oh, okay.
Mountain Dan, you ain't got no legs.
So, cut to the town.
It's just Michael Shannon.
Yeah, cut to the town. It's the paparazzi guy gets there because he knows where she's gonna be, what town it's nearby, but can't seem to find a way. So he goes into the local bar to get some information, and all of a sudden, the witch appears, and all of the drinks in the bar lean towards her, and no one really is shocked by it. Even the paparazzi guy, he's like, "Wow, what a weird kind of place, wow, mountain stuff."
The center of gravity's just shifting around here.
He's not shocked. So I'm a little confused by this, because it's like, what kind of a world are we living in? Because we set up a very normal world at the beginning. Now we got a magic lady, and it's not like this is a weird thing to these people. So it's, and like even the sheriff, that she's like, "You belong to me." He's not like, "Ah," he's just like, oh Jezebel.
Got me again.
Oh, Jezebel, man. The old ball and chain and arsenic. And so she's like, you talked to that woman, didn't you? And he's like, whatever. She must leave. She has to leave this town now. And like wind is always blowing in her face. Like her hair is always moving. The rest of the room is still, but there's wind blowing around her. It's so stupid. She leaves, all the drinks shatter and fall, and the bartender's like, I gotta get plastic cups. Like, this is a normal thing. This is a normal thing.
Of all things to say, I feel like there are better lines.
Like, oh my gosh, magic. Real
magic.
magic.
Something like, you go with the standard, I gotta move.
Yeah, no, I gotta
switch to plastic cups.
Oh, no. But
Gorge.
Seriously. So she so this witch is like, I'm gonna take it into my own hands, and so all the kids are inside one night, and she's just playing. Dolly's just playing her guitar out on the deck, and all of a sudden you hear her say, I forget Dolly's name in this film. So she's just like, Dolly, come here, come to me. It's your father, King Roland. Would I lie? like does
What?
that whole thing. No, but it's like the whole kind of Spaceball thing. Like, come to me. And she enters this trance and almost gets, falls off the side of this cliff. Yeah, fool you. Oh, it tries to lead her off the side of a cliff and off a waterfall. But just as she falls, Mountain Dan catches her.
Dan.
Mountain Dan appears.
Mountain Dan,
and I gotta tell you,
ice cream.
he is the highlight of this film for me, because he is like the coolest son of a gun
He's Lee Major.
I've ever met. He's like, if Tom Selleck met Indiana Jones and a bit of Ron Perlman, to be honest, and they all combined their forces and made a person. Oh, and a little bit of Crocodile Dundee. Because he's like this perfect mountain man, knows everything, and he's like, you were put under a spell. This will help you. And like, he knows everything. He's like so cool. So she invites him to like hang out at their cabin with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when he shows up, I guess she's asleep or something, because all the kids are losing their minds when he walks up. So they open the door. The oldest kid is pointing a shotgun at him.
What?
Oh my.
And he's like, come in slowly. And he's carrying a bag. He's like, show us the contents of the bag.
Oh,
And slowly puts it out, and they're all saying it's like different stuff. It's like it's a beehive or a rattlesnake nest or something like that. He opens it. It's a fruitcake. That's it. It's a fruitcake. And then she shows.
Well, I mean, those are pretty terrible.
Yeah. And Dolly wakes up and she's like, "Kids, put the gun down."
You're being crazy.
No, you.
Oh, you. So
Put that shotgun away.
everything's great. It's like Christmas Eve, and the paparazzi guy is now lost in the middle of the woods on a pack mule trying to find the cabin. Is found by Mountain Dan. I guess they're hanging out now.
Okay.
So
Are we near the end?
No, like we're at the midpoint. We're at the midpoint at this point. This thing is all over the place. I'm trying here, kids. I promise. So anyway, the classic bit starts to come in, because she's like, she really loves the kids, but she's like, honestly, I don't know how we would make it happen where I could adopt you kids. I want to, but I don't want to get our
It's
hopes.
just that I'm rich.
Yeah, but
I'd have to share the money then.
And so the kids are all like, geez, I told you this was going to happen. So at just that moment, somehow the sheriff finds them. And the sheriff has been looking for these kids apparently for a while. So he arrests the kids to take them to foster care by these two awful ladies. And arrests Dolly when she's like, because he says like she's obstructing justice. And she's like, let go of me. You're ridiculous. Oh, you're harming an officer now. Aha. So he
I feel like you could have
up.
just gone, she's harboring...
Yeah, harboring fugitive.
fugitives.
That too. So he throws all of that
Very
on her.
tall fugitives.
So all of them except for the grumpy kid and Mountain Dan, they're watching from a distance, like we gotta get a plan together. So they they're trying to figure out how to get the kids freed and everything, and get Dolly free. Meanwhile, the witch appears again as an old woman and gives Dolly an apple pie in prison. And she falls asleep. So there's and that's pretty much it for the Snow White parts, because that's it. That's it after that. And then the witch leaves.
Wait. So that means we don't have the Snow White awakening scene. So Dolly's just dead.
No. Hold on. There is that part, but it's funny.
I hope so.
So they literally rip the wall open of the prison. Like, they blow the wall open. Not just they pick the locker, pull the window out. They, like, rip the wall open.
Mountain Dan, you got no dynamite.
Yeah, no, with a horse. Did
you just say they lick the wall open?
No.
Oh, rip,
Tyler.
context clue.
I swear, we have this once an episode. Tyler just thinks we say something completely out of context.
So, anyway, yeah, so they tear the wall open. They're trying to wake her up. Mountain Dan kisses her. Nothing happens, but the grumpy kid... It's so funny. But the grumpy kid cries on her, and the tears fall on her face, and that causes her to
That's like the Pokemon movie.
Yes, actually.
It's a good subversion of expectations, because I thought Mountain Dan's kiss would have
Are
woke
you
her.
saying Pokemon the movie ripped off of Smoky Mountain Christmas?
The cops get... Wait, they free the kids. They break the kids out of the foster place. That's terrible. And the cops catch them in the end. So they have to go to court on Christmas morning with the honorable judge played by randomly John Ritter.
From Three's Company?
Yes.
Interesting.
Right.
Just shows up, just John Ritter, just there. So they make the case that, of everything. And obviously he's like, well, this is ridiculous. So I guess we're going to drop all charges for everybody, and I'm going to give Dolly temporary custody of the kids.
Wait, is temporary custody a thing you can get?
Yeah, apparently.
You get the kids for about 2 weeks.
So gives that. And that's pretty much the movie. Then her, the paparazzi guy, all the kids, and Mountain Dan spend Christmas together, and that's it.
Alrighty then.
That's a Smoky Mountain Christmas.
Huh. Well.
So it happened, and it wasn't terrible. Except for the songs.
Yeah.
Some of those songs were actually good. Some of the songs were like terrible.
Like Rhinestone.
Yeah.
Well,
like Rhinestone.
it's that time of the night to see who won, who lost, and who got away with it.
For once.
And Tyler definitely won.
Yeah, I got away with it.
And I lost.
That's pretty
It was
clear.
that simple.
Pretty clear.
Oddly enough, even though I lost, I feel like mine was the most Christmassy movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't feel a lot of Christmas in mine, other than the decorations. I mean, you could have taken that out. You could have taken the Christmas out, and it pretty much would have been the same
noticed
thing.
that there's legal proceedings in each and every one of our 3 films.
Yeah,
This is true.
a lot of legal stuff going on at Christmas.
Yeah, all the big cases, all the best cases happen at
Santa
Christmas.
won't pay his
O.J.
rent.
Simpson case? That was a Christmas case if I've ever had one.
Yeah.
Was it?
No. All right, so we have had some terrible movies in our mouth, and it's time for our palate cleanser. But this episode, we're going to do a special Christmas theme. So I'd love to talk about the Christmas specials, and maybe a Christmas movie or two, that you feel don't get recognized. They're not the classics, but you think they're really good. For me, there are a couple great ones that no one talks about. The regular show Christmas special, I think, is wonderful. It's wonderfully dark for a Christmas special. It's definitely the Christmas special with the most gunplay, which is fun not only because it's a children's cartoon, but it's also a Christmas special. Basically, it's about one of Santa's elves going rogue and trying to destroy Christmas because Santa didn't appreciate his gift ideas.
Oh wow!
And it has what is his name? Playing Santa,
He plays
Ed
Santa
Asner.
a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, he's great as Santa. That's probably That's the Christmas special I make sure I see every year.
Okay.
It's one I own, and I really enjoy it. Another one is the Jimmy Neutron Christmas special.
Okay.
It has one of my favorite Christmas songs, "Basking in the Warmth of Christmas Day." I think it's a fun
Doesn't Jimmy's
song.
dad sing
But
a song
also,
about pie?
He sings the songs about pie a few
No,
times.
but he
in
like
the
tries
show.
to make
Yeah, he really
a
does.
holiday about pie called Pew.
You might be right. The funny thing is, although Jimmy Neutron's on Hulu, the Christmas special is not on, and I cannot find it anywhere.
Jimmy Neutron is on Hulu?
It is, and I have been going back and
Oh
enjoying
my
it.
God.
But here's the thing. They have the genius casting of Santa. I think it might be one of my favorite Santas. They get Mel Brooks.
Nice.
There's
Fantastic.
no better man to be the icon of a Gentile holiday than an old Jew.
True.
He's a wonder.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, and I think what else? Prep and Landing
Well, those are
is
good. Yeah.
Disney Christmas special.
Quite
All
cool.
right.
I like them a lot. I think the characters are fun. The situations, the inventiveness of them prepping the houses for Christmas. I love all the gadgets. And if I had to recommend a Christmas movie, I'd go with The Lemon Drop Kids, starring Bob Hope. It's the film that originated the song Silver Bells.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, and it's really funny because, Silver Bells is a beautiful Christmas song, but our original introduction to it is Bob Hope is literally ripping people off by pretending to be a charity Santa. And there's also a really racist part of the song where, like, they go, because it's like, silver bells, ring-a-ding-a-ling-a-ling. And when they get to that part, they go in front of a Chinese market, and these two Chinese kids come out, and they just go, a-ring-a-ding-a-ring-a. And it's just like, oh no. But it's a fun film. Basically, Bob has gambling debts to this mob leader, so he gets the idea to organize like a Salvation Army Christmas Santa, ring the bell, put the money in the pot kind of scheme, and he'll be able to pay it off that way. So check it out.
Cool.
Neat.
Mason, what would you like to recommend?
Mine isn't really too much of a not well known, but I don't see it pushed as much as some of the other Rankin Bass, which would be, and that's Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh, it's great.
I know you all know it. I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty well known, but I feel like as years are going by, that one's sort of getting cast to the wayside. I love it. I recently watched it just last weekend with my wife. Obviously, we've been in Christmas mode since November 1st. So,
But that's the one with Heat Miser and Snow Miser, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's one of the bigger Christmas specials.
No, I don't see it as much. It's not in like any of the collections. We went out to try and find it on DVD. To watch it or VHS obviously not VHS, but we did just get a VHS player.
Nice.
For
A
fun.
VCR, they're
Yeah,
called.
yes, a VCR, that one.
You have to be technical,
But
yeah.
we can't find it on anything right
I
now.
think
But
Warner
we can
Brothers
find-
has the rights to that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's got some actual beautiful songs. I'd love to see them come out with a new animated one, if at all possible. I know they did a live action one in the early 2000s.
I was gonna say,
but it
yeah,
was
with John
terrible.
Goodman.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
No, they actually did do a sequel that was terrible a couple years ago. With
Yeah, I
just,
saw that one. I
Yeah.
actually kind of enjoyed it. It was weird.
I guess.
But for a movie, if you're looking for a movie that's kind of not too well known, and if you're fond of the Christmas Carol, wait a minute, a little another one that I just always love to watch is the Christmas Carol with the Disney Christmas Carol, the first one with
With Scrooge.
Scrooge McDuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that
a great
one. That one's a great one. That's always a classic. But with that in mind, a movie that I like that not too many people know about, just because the market is way oversaturated with Christmas Carol adaptations, is the movie Scrooge from 1970, starring Albert Finney. It's it's a fun musical. It's very campy. Sir Alec Guinness plays Marley, and he's very weird throughout. Like he's He's hamming
They
it
are
up.
alternatives to embezzling.
You must
Yeah.
go to the Dagobah system.
Yeah, no, but he's like, his arms are waving around all the time. Like, he's trying to give that whole ethereal look, but his hands are always waving, and it looks really stupid, but it's just a fun movie. That's kind of why I wanted you to check it out, Lakitis, because it's hilarious.
Okay.
But it's definitely worth a watch. I think there are some scenes that really get into the depth of where Scrooge's pain and anger against Christmas comes from. And Albert Finney plays Scrooge throughout pretty much all the periods of his life. So it's interesting, and I think it's actually a pretty good adaptation there, and it's got some beautiful songs.
Better or worse than Muppet Christmas Carol?
Oh, nothing's better than Christmas Carol with the Muppets. Come on.
Indeed.
That's
All right, Tyler.
That's the gold standard.
What do you want to recommend?
Okay, I got some weird ones, but you kind of expected that at this point. There's an hour-long Alf Christmas special I've watched since I was a kid, and I love it. And I know it's cheesy, and it's weird because like Alf delivers a baby, helps a sick girl, and stops a black man from committing suicide all in the same night, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
I remember watching that. Yep, I think I have that.
I have it on DVD somewhere, but yeah, I've always grown up with that. Love it. The small one is the Don Bluth 25-minute Disney animated short about the donkey and that would carry Mary and Joseph I guess just Mary, to Bethlehem, and would witness the birth of Christ and his friendship with a little boy. I love that. The Pinky and the Brain Christmas special is actually surprisingly heartfelt. Cause like,
is there a different one outside of Wacko's Wish?
Wacko's Wish isn't Christmas related. I think it was just
yeah, no, that's not Christmas.
Oh, really? I always thought it was.
No, it's just set in the snow.
Huh.
I think it was released around Christmas time, but it's neither here nor there. But no, there's a Pinky and the Brain 30-minute Christmas special that was part of their show that's really good and surprisingly heartfelt.
Gotcha.
For that, I recommend you guys check that one out. And what else? I guess we'll go into movies. I love Arthur Christmas, and it didn't get enough love when it came out, and I still don't think it gets enough love. I think it's a spectacular Christmas movie, and I try to watch it every year. And I love Aardman, even when they're not doing.
I gotta give that a rewatch because I saw it in theaters and I was not a fan of it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And some of the voices they get. Jim Broadbent is one of the Santa Claus is great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
You know another
My
one?
favorite. Go ahead.
Another one that I really like, even though it's kind of encapsulates a lot of holidays, is Rise of the Guardians. Yeah. I enjoyed that one personally. Yeah. I don't know. It hits a spot with me. The Santa in that, when he makes his whole speech about what your center is, that actually always fills me up. I just really like that Santa.
It fills you up, Buttercup.
Buttercup, baby, just a bit.
Why you do this?
Awesome.
Did you know that Brazil and Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut are set during Christmas? I
didn't know Brazil was. I knew Eyes Wide Shut is.
I wouldn't recommend either of those for holiday viewing, but I do love those movies. But I do want to just say how much I've always loved Scrooged. I saw that with Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
I saw that when I was way too young, but I watch it every year. I adore it.
I saw it for the first time last year, and I absolutely loved it.
It's great. It's so good.
You know, one of my favorite Christmas memories is watching Die Hard for the first time with you two.
Yep. Nope.
Oh, that was
great.
That was very good.
We watched that and Time Bandits back to back for some reason.
Yes, we did. Around this time, 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah, just an edit bay. So uncomfy couches. We'd sneak sheets into school.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good times.
Those were better times, gentlemen.
Toby and I are going to watch Die Hard this Christmas, and I believe it's her first time watching it. No, she hasn't seen it before, so I'm excited to be able to share that experience with her now.
You should watch the trilogy. 2 and 3 are actually really good. I really like 3.
I think I have one of your old copies of the third one. Yeah, I have Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is yours. I don't have the
That was deliberate. I want you to watch it.
All right, so I think that's it for this episode, guys.
That's our longest one so far, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you want to ask a question that we'd answer live on the show, you can contact us either on Twitter at artificialpod or at Gmail at artificialpod. Sorry, I just forgot it. At artificialpod@gmail.com. Wow, my mind just went blank there. If you want to find me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Josh_Lakaitis and on Instagram, who cares? Mace, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at good old Price. You can find me on Twitter. You're not going to see any tweets because I never tweet, but yeah, I'm there. And then, of course, I have my public page on Facebook as well. And additionally, I just want to mention it one last time. As of last week, Jerry the Bumblebee Who Couldn't Buzz, Christmas Story, did get released on Amazon. It is a children's book for the holiday season, just talking about all sorts of things.
We have already sold several copies.
Yeah, we actually have. And it's getting some pretty great reception, and it's bringing a lot of smiles to a lot of kids, parents, and everybody in between. So check it out if you get a chance.
Awesome. And Tyler, how can they find you?
I have hidden my contact information in the credits of the film Osmosis Jones. You'll have to watch it to find it. Good luck.
All right, everybody. That'll do it for this week's episode of Artificial Entertainment. If you could, it would be great if you could leave us a review on whatever you are listening to us. It helps us be seen by others. Just share the podcast around if you like it. We understand if you don't, but we just appreciate if we could get double-digit listeners. That'd be nice.
Ding dong, ding dong.
So from all of us here at Artificial Entertainment, God bless, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.
God bless us, everyone.
Boom.
Ding dong. Ding dong.
Oh, we forgot to say, next week's episode theme is Star Wars, and we're just going to each pick a prequel and say why we think it's the best. And I guess that'll do it now. Bye!